I am live. They hacked me. Right, so now pressure up and I'll let this play on there. Charges up. Oh. Really? Motorbikes outside? Yeah, I just got hacked. I'm back. Hiya. Yeah, I'm just gonna check your website, well, your channel, and look at your playlist. It just hacked my phone. So I'm just gonna check. Okay. So, I've been hammering all day and all night, so I'm absolutely naked. So I'm just gonna type in your channel and get those playlists up. How are you? Do yourself? You know what it's like with these perps. What you said about her family, yeah, I clocked a video which they shown her in a white coffin and somewhere over in Finland, but it looked really weird. I don't think I typed this in well because I'm not doing that. I keep hacking on my electrics at the moment. You have to bear with me, I have to do a search. You know, it's like when you just like haven't got any energy to keep going though. Now number 10 is kicking off. Do you know, it's like a war zone around here. They're trying to get me out of my flat. Set me up on all sorts. Stupid nasty pieces of work and that. Right, I haven't typed it in right, so bear with me. You've got it all caps, so I'll try it that way. I'm just very slow doing things today. If they had implants right since the 1950s, that would answer a lot of things. Well, it would explain a lot of things with my family makeup and my adult son and my daughter and then my bloody grandkids. This whole world. Found you. I love your picture. You're doing well, by the way, what you do for people. I'm just checking into your playlist now. Night Thunder, I haven't heard from him for a while. I hope he's alright. You know, Nappy Hood Roots as well. So, yeah, I found it. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to show those that watch this video your channel. Don't tell you, trying to hack into my bloody folder. trying to get my video front facing. Temperamental when I'm trying to do this on the bloody phone. Right. Should work. I just say information getting out. There you go. Got it now. There you go. Bit small for camera. I know I'm not going to play this. If you're okay with it. Okay, life Swinby, like a chip here. Okay. Oh, I have to be careful what I share on that one. Mind control.
Towards healing because they say, oh, it's not proven or whatever. Doctors do not want to admit that somebody who has no education can be a better healer than a doctor can be.
But we know that when we look at the Bible, not to get into the Bible, but we will all be able to do this.
Sure.
The more we are aligned with ourselves, with our light, and everything, everyone will be healers. But when we get to the fear stuff, because that's also to do with the doctors, that they are afraid of, losing their power or their
post it on your recent live stream.
But when we go
yeah,
to
I've got
fear
it now.
and death,
I've got it.
I think it's very important that we need to make them understand that death is an illusion, and the one life. If you think there's only one life, you will get fearful because there's so much you need to know and do and stress and all this,
and
you need to collect a lot of stuff while being here. But you have your experience about death and that it goes on forever. Life.
Yes. In medical schools, it's very, very unfortunate that I understand that in any country, it's never taught to the medical students what it is to be a human being on this planet. They teach anatomy, they teach physiology, they teach the psyche.
I'll do the mind control one, part 8 of 13 on your playlist.
Emotion and whatever a person does with electrical stimulation of the brain.
Right.
And that was in 72.
Just going to set my channel a minute. Bear with me.
At least.
And more and more mad, you can say. It's like the normal cognitive functions don't function anymore. Coherent thinking is way out. It doesn't work anymore. It's like even the simplest things. It's of course not all people, but it's the majority we're talking about, and it's the majority they wish to remove from the planet. That's how I look at it. It's very concrete. But yeah, it seems like they are becoming more and more out of themselves, and actually they are, of course. But
yeah, that's true. Alzheimer's has risen like this with young people under 30. Now that was unheard of 20 years ago. Now what is the reason? Mobile phones, because it's the young people using them. I heard of a Swedish man who denial. There's no. We do research. We're doing 10-year research. No, nothing. The same thing happens in the future, like with the tobacco. Tobacco doesn't cause cancer. That was denial from the tobacco factories. Now they have to admit it, and they have had to pay some compensations. So what they do, they put on the labels, tobacco can cause health problems or whatever. The same they probably will do with the mobile. They will just put a little sticker that it may cause health problems, and after that, since you anyway use it, most people do in the Western world especially, so then they have no liability. They don't have no responsibility. They don't have to pay you that you got a brain tumor, that you got Alzheimer's, and you got suppressed, your intelligence went down. And that you can see. We are dealing today in a scary way with a lot of zombies. They really don't think. And young people, I've seen it from my acquaintances, I'm scared when I see them talking on the phone all the time. Because then they just don't remember anything. You know, hey, call me so, oh, I forgot. And then they're doing, one young woman was driving a car, having a cup of coffee in her hand and talking to a phone at the same time. I mean, that's crazy.
No, thank you.
They don't think it's crazy. They think it's okay. The future is not what it used to be.
Yes, when you say that the kids or children, they don't think a lot anymore. When you, for instance, go into a shop to buy.
Oops. I'll come back to it.
Into a shop to buy.
Oops. I'll come back to it. Why is pressing the wrong bloody button again? You see, they either hacked my computer or I hacked the phone. Oh look, I hacked the screen. Let's press the second button. Right, that one's working. I think. Sound's on. Just sound checking, just bear with us. Sound check. Right, that one's working. Right, this is one I need to check, bear with me. I'll come back to the audio of the interview. Mind control military also. Okay. Try again. Right, mute that and we're going to play what the history I was just playing. Bear with me, just get it up. That's not the one I had up on your link. I think it's this one. Hold on, just check. No, it won't. I'm trying to multitask, bear with me. That wasn't it, was it? Pain in the butt. This is right, I have to go into this one. You know, when they get the frequencies and you affect your body and you're just nervous all week. So keep going. Get there in the end. Let's get this interview up because it's very important. It's not that one. No, I'm getting this. Hold on, let me just see if I can switch it this way around. Mind controlled military also. Channel demonic. This is demonic. It's extremely demonic. They sold their souls out a long time ago. type of programs. The documents earlier I found myself. Hack your brains. Right, I think I could have saved it. Oh, bloody hell. Right. Brian Chew is doing the stream. You know Brian Chew? I don't know him without him on the channel. I'm sidetracking for a minute. Let's see where he is now. EML wave. Microwaves. He's using StreamYard now instead of oh, I just haven't heard from him for ages. Let's have a look. Don't know how he thought travelling around the world trying to escape all this. Because no matter where you go in the world, it follows you. Do you know, I'm searching for one thing and they keep hacking my bloody computer and getting something else up. Right. We're all getting forced. Does somebody get the force erase memories and force sleep deprivations? So he's been uploading the he's got like a smart watch that tells you how much sleep you've had and stuff. Right, let me go back to the search for your channel again. Yeah. Let me see. I saved it from the library, I think. It's not there. See if it's on like videos. I'm gonna find this bloody good important video. It's disappeared on me. Remote neuron monitoring satellite harassment. There's so many good people getting info out. I'm gonna have to do a search again on the name. And capitals. And your channel name, that is. I can't see small print, my eyes are playing up. What's it like in New York City at the moment? Did you get floods and things where you are with the bad weather I heard? You just open up bloody lights now. Found you. Delivery guy synchronizes you wearing the military camouflage. Do you know this is triggers? The honey trap as well. Duro, mum and daughter. It's sick, innit? A week ago I saw that synchronization. Because you know what it is. How'd you cope with that? The day on the video counter is wrong. It's alright, you ain't doing your best, aren't you? Anyone's surviving. You do your calling radio or phone show or something, don't you, to help people, which is really, really good. Don't have that in England. Don't have that. There's not much going on in that network, in that system. Playlist. It's just trying to survive, learning. Each day's a challenge. Okay. Human Project is honoured to present an interview with Dr. Renai Leela Lincolnhead, Part 1 of 13. This was first done 5th of July 2019, and well done to putting these up. In England, I can't mention think about keywords. So I'm going to go straight down in the playlist in the chat of our GTINC channel. He's got a playlist. You can go and watch 13 of the interviews. But I'm going to stick to the subject. I try to feel what happened. Straight down to, if it ends quickly, then I will try in between what I need to fresh up now. Its subject is number 8 on the playlist of 13 mind control mobile phones. You've done it in a good order in your playlist because it gives a breakdown of who she is. The mind control one I've already seen, and the interviews, yeah, as an MP4 version. There are 2 interviews. I thought it's very, very, very good. The part 1 she did, because you found quite a few, where she talks about biological weapons. I have to put the words in the ledge. Yeah, so I just go back to the mind control on mobile phones. And you all remember those days in the old phones we used to have. So I won't play it in order, I'll just stick to part 8. If I can find it again. Right, here we go. Part 8.
Is the ability to control every thought, feeling, behavior, emotion, and whatever a person does with electrical stimulation of the brain.
Right.
And you know, that was in 72. And when he said that in 72, that means it's 30 years old.
At least.
That's
And,
the
I
audio.
just wonder, when people, they put this mobile phone up to their head, because then they are doing electrical stimulation of the brain.
Right.
And I like observing people and how they change and what is going on. And it seems like, and it has been speeding up the last 2 years especially.
2G, 3G, 4G, now 5G.
Mad, you can say. It's like the normal cognitive functions don't function anymore. Coherent thinking is way out. It doesn't work anymore. It's like even the simplest things. It's of course not all people, but it's the majority we're talking about, and it's the majority they wish to remove from the planet. That's how I look at it. It's very concrete. But yeah, it seems like they are becoming more and more out of themselves, and actually they are, of course. But
yeah, that's true. Alzheimer's has risen like this with young people under 30. Now that was unheard of 20 years ago. Now, what is the reason? Mobile phones, because it's the young people using them. I heard of a Swedish man who talked, because of his job, 5 hours a day on a mobile, he became deaf and blind. And of course, officially, it's always denied. Denial. There is no. We're doing research. We're doing 10-year research. No, nothing. The same thing happens in the future, like with the tobacco. Tobacco doesn't cause cancer. That was denial from the tobacco factories. Now they have to admit it, and they have had to pay some compensations. So what they do, they put on the labels, tobacco can cause health problems or whatever. The same they probably will do with the mobile. They will just put a little sticker that it may cause health problems, and after that, since you anyway use it, most people do in the Western world especially, so then they have no liability. They don't have no responsibility. They don't have to pay you that you've got a brain tumor, that you got Alzheimer's, and you got suppressed, your intelligence went down. And that you can see. We are dealing today in a scary way with a lot of zombies. They really don't think. And young people, I've seen it from my acquaintances. I'm scared when I see them talking on the phone all the time, because then they just don't remember anything. We hey, call me someone. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I forgot. And then they're doing. One young woman was driving a car, having a cup of coffee in her hand and talking to a phone at the same time. I mean, that's crazy. They don't think it's crazy. They think it's okay. The future is not what it used to be.
Yes, when you say that the kids or children, they don't think a lot anymore. When you, for instance, go into a shop to buy something and you ask about something, sometimes I just get the impression there's nobody home. It's like I'm knock on the forehead, because it's really sad to experience. And also when you see how people have dressed and so, they have built in like this. They look like zombies with the trousers all the way down, and something has changed so much. And also when we look at, young women or young girls, I started, I think 10 years ago, I said something is changing in their eyes. They are very focused on, they want something. And it's like I said, it says in their eyes, something about sex or something. It's so much about the physical.
Right.
Everything has become so physical.
That's right.
And the girls are so challenging, even though they're 12 years old, 14 years old. And it seems like, where did the pride go? Where did the ethical way go? Where did today it's like everything's been exposed. And normally you had to, it was kind of a Christmas, you had to unwrap things, and today everything is just upfront.
Well, it does seem that things have changed quite a bit, but I recall when I was 15 years old at the confirmation school in Finland, we were told that in the rime stones, which are 2,000 years old or something, it was said that the youth has changed, that they don't obey their parents anymore. So that is the same. I mean, youth has changed, but on the other hand, if they wouldn't change, what would happen? Because then the world would be still. If they think that the elderly generations did and didn't do anything differently, we would still be there with no electricity or something.
Yeah.
So on the other hand, they do have I would say, responsibility to think differently, to bring new ideas, to take us into the space age.
Yeah.
But it can be done positively or negatively, and it seems that the negative development is now on the top, and that should be changed.
Yeah.
We'll watch that. Okay, we'll start from the top then, number 1. No, I can't do swine flu. We'll go to part 2.
Somebody who has no education can be a better healer than a doctor.
But we know that when we look at the Bible, not to get into the Bible, but we will all be able to do this. The more we are aligned with ourselves, with our life, and everything, everyone will be healers. But when we get to the fear stuff, because that's also to do with the doctors, that they are afraid of, losing their power or their
rage of vibration.
But when we go to fear and death, I think it's very important that we need to make them understand that death is an illusion and the one life. If you think there's only one life, you will get fearful because there's so much you need to know and do and stress and all this, and you need to collect a lot of stuff while being here. But you have your experience about death and that it goes on forever. Life.
Yes. In medical schools, it's very, very unfortunate that I understand that in any country, it's never taught to the medical students what it is to be a human being on this planet. They teach anatomy, they teach physiology, they teach the psyche, how it's sick, in psychiatry. But what are the limits of your consciousness? What is your consciousness? Where is it? What color is it? What form is it? You don't get these answers from the medical schools. And that's very wrong, because if we as students would get the right answers, we would totally differently treat our patients. Not just the body, but we would treat the energy.
Yeah.
And doctors don't even generally know anything about the frequencies, that you can really, with different frequencies, cause from outside different emotions. And today's military technology is flabbergasting. I mean, it's like science fiction, but it is
secrets of the universe. Think of energy, frequency, vibration.
Because every brainwave is different with different people. They are like we have fingertips. They are all unique.
Our brain vibrations are unique.
Vibrations are unique too.
You're truly
and they
unique.
can be caught by computers, especially supercomputers, which I now.
Silent weapons acquire more.
280 trillion in a second. Now, because I have heard that figure, and previously it was much lower. So, of course, in secrecy, it must be
Google mind control, silent sounds of supercomputers.
So we have no
That's brain
match.
space, total population control.
And they can control us totally.
Take back your brain.
And as proof, the very, very sad
experimentations
with school children who are shooting their fellow school children and also their teachers in many, many countries. And the real reason for that experimentation is they are trying to change the laws to take away guns. So when the government terrorism really starts, nobody can defend themselves because we have no guns.
Freedom,
and
terror.
When you think that they can read our subconscious, they can read our dreams. So of course people say, oh, this is crazy, it is not possible. Well, unfortunately, those people are totally ignorant of today's extreme technology, which is not for public knowledge because it's military technology. Military never tells how
mind wars, brain research, national defense, heart, global manipulation, energy frequencies, global mind control. Google it. UN has more than 5,000 meetings per year. The true agenda UN depopulation through certain
But if people knew that, when we talk about mobile phones, if they knew that the mobile phones were invented as military systems, and they just put blue colors and ringtones and Mickey Mouse and everything on it, so it looks very appealing for humans to as a toy, and they get addicted. If they knew that everything was invented as military systems, they might, start to wonder, what is this mobile phone actually doing to my brain?
It's a weapon. It's absolutely a weapon. And the worst thing is many parents give it to their children because they say, oh, I have to know what the child knows and where the child is after school. Now, 20 years ago, we all lived without knowing where the child was after school. And if we know that it's a weapon that can kill, it killed.
Many people already living dead zombies due to dumbing down.
And his brain waves were just burnt. They just add 20,000 times more frequency on it, more power on it, and they're burned. And according to
5G technology now,
the Food and Drug Administration in the United States has also said that one single phone call's effect stays 1 week in your brain, and you should never talk more than 2 minutes and then change to the other side, because the brain tumors that come and are going to be an epidemic in 20 years with us come from the microwaves, and they're always on the side which you use for the mobile phones. So if you love your children, don't ever give them a mobile until they're about 18, because their brain waves are not, and their brain and their nervous system is not developed until they are adults.
Yeah.
And because the parents don't know, they're ignorant, and they say if this would be dangerous, it would be all over the world. And even WHO is not admitting the facts, which I think is very, very disturbing.
The mineral.
You can say it's a weapon and it can kill you, but actually you can say it has killed the consciousness and the deeper connection in people, because it seems like actually when we talk about mind control, it seems like it works perfectly, because people they don't question anything anymore. It's like when you say something to them, especially about children, please be careful, please, because this is not your child has to develop, and so they will not develop right, they will become crazy people or just anymore. But they have the same kind of replies or answers to these questions, or when they are getting affecting the industry. So actually it's subverted. So they actually defend the technology, but not their own health.
Well, I wouldn't say that they have killed the consciousness. I would say they have suppressed it totally.
Yeah.
Because they are wanting to have the zombies in all the world. Yeah. Unfortunately, we have an unethical elite in the world that steers everything. And our governments, I don't care if it's the US government or Finnish or Norwegian, whatever, they have actually nothing to say. They are errand boys for the secret government that governs the world. And they want to get rid of 2/3 of world's population. That is the middle class especially, because middle class can read and write and can think until they suppress them into zombies. They want worker class, slaves, and themselves. And they claim that this is done because there are too many people on this planet and this planet can't take it.
Part 4, right? Part 4.
From Rome, Berlin, Copenhagen, and up in Norway here. And we have the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemispheres. And you are Finnish, and that means you are much more intuitive in Finland than in Norway. The Finnish people are very intuitive by nature, and the more east we get, the more intuitive they get. And this is actually, we are in a period now where we need to balance those two. We have to remove the wall, you can say, between the two hemispheres of the brain as well. And this is actually the next period we are going into. So people have to wake up very fast because they are very stuck in the material worldview, and it's not scientifically proved, let's say, to everything. It's like a brainwash program running. But yeah, they have really forgot.
Well, I wouldn't say that Finns are more intuitive than Norwegians, but I would say that according to a Gallup done 84 already, I think it was, in Europe, they were comparing different countries and how the people reported their paranormal experiences, telepathy, clairvoyance, contact with the spirit or the energy of the dead. So all Scandinavian countries, with the exception of Iceland, were in very, very low figures. And yes, I admit Norway was one of the lowest. Icelandic people said that 41% have had contact with the energy of the dead. And at that time, until 93, a Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, done by American psychiatrists mostly, and done by voting. They voted, is this a mental disease or is this not a mental disease? That's not very scientific. This information came from a psychologist who was in the committee. So they were claiming that contact with the dead is a sign of schizophrenia, and telepathy is a sign of schizophrenia. 94, it was changed because there was so much opposition, and now it's religious and spiritual problems. I mean, that's crazy. They're no problems, they're normal human experiences. And Americans, it was interesting, had the highest figures in telepathy, contact with the dead, and clairvoyance. Why is that? Americans are pretty open, and Scandinavians necessarily do not have least experiences, but they are afraid to express them because of ridicule. And that ridicule is done on purpose. There are, shall I say, organizations, especially the secret services, led by US often, that absolutely attack especially academic population, scientists who dare to come out with a different worldview. And they're ridiculed, and sometimes in the States especially, their finances, their research money is withdrawn. Because elite does not want people to know who they actually are. Elite does not want people to know what they can do. If all the population of the world would concentrate, even for a minute a day, that we want peace, we want harmony, we want love on this planet.
These are smile
exactly,
direct
the
clever
world will
liners.
change.
They're
They don't
laser
want
cut
that.
for
They
comfort
want war.
to gently straighten
Because
you
that's
under
how
a
they get the
dentist's
money.
direction.
And money and power and misuse of power
Oh,
are the
you've spoken
biggest
to
crimes on
Nappy.
this planet
I
today.
don't know.
And that has to change. And it's going to change. I think it's going to change with big catastrophes, even if they are man-made.
I don't know. I don't know if he's done a stream lately.
My Inscat, that's a large.
I don't know if he's alive. I hope he is. Yeah, because he was having problems with his car, wasn't he? Van. And I think some of the other target individuals helped him out. Let me just see if I've got any notification. Let me see if Mo knows. Mo, you should get an email. Just have a sec. I don't know. Got a few other emails, but not. Don't ask Tammy, I'm sure she knows if she usually watches out. Just give her a quick email and see. She's I'll just do a quick email. She usually checks out for things. Time difference and all that stuff. I might miss his live streams. Let me just see. I'll do a simple search. How do you know? Do you tend to get a notification if he puts a video out? Let's see. I usually save a few of them. If I put no, since the last time I saved one of the videos. Right, I've got his channel. I've got the wrong channel. This is the old channel. Last year. He had the same problems as me, being badly hacked and all that stuff. The rough sake, another one of his videos. Because there's a couple of people that I chat to. Yeah, change his channel name, didn't he? I haven't heard much of Knights of Thunder. I have to check his channel. He's in England.
Alright, so
He gets a BS on his family members. He's good on his music. 7 months ago, he gets all the cyber harassment like me. Maybe he's doing alright. I don't know if he's new.
again.
There's a female in England. What's been happening with a few people? Certain individuals have been trawling Twitter to get people on board, and a certain individual based in Canada has implied that she set up this alternative social media platform. Implied the defamation of character of a certain another female individual who doesn't speak English that well on her channel recently, and that I would never tarnish anyone. Everyone's going through their own situation. But what was going on recently, it was just out of order. I can't mention Malcolm Wolfline. He's in America. He's always, when he does streams, he's always very informative, helpful, you know. Right, I thought I had it saved, this new channel. For some reason I didn't. So, answer to your inquiry, I can't quite. Let me go on to this channel, see if I've got any links. Yeah, so I don't know. There's the agendas all the time, isn't there? But ways of using technology. Stimulated reality, supercomputer linked to target individuals. I'll play that in the background for a moment.
Targets and mind control victims have their minds linked up for life with conscious supercomputers. If you construct a model of the human brain, you can then plug people into this hive mind. You could, as an intermediate step, take these duplicated neurons, artificial warm and wet qubits, as I call them, and you can integrate those into an actual human mind. Thus, you are able to control that human mind with.
What's that? Hello, Mo. What is that? Just RT left, I guess. Oh, right, okay. Not talking to you, I think. Oh, okay. Most of now I'm here. I was taking care of something in the background now. I've been trying to get a hold of him myself, but haven't been successful. They're really going hard in keeping, gosh. That's not good for anyone either. Prayers and blessings to him. If you do get hold of him somehow. Mo says, waking up, listen to our lives with scripture reading. Have you? Wow, blessings, mate. Let's all pray for Nappy. He is safe. Blessings. Amen to that. Us from communicating, it's been usually hit or miss with connecting with one another successfully. Well, with yourself, with Mo and yourself. They don't like it, do they, when you try and get information out? The monitor every damn thing, and over here in England it's very, very same. I mean, on the worst bloody, well, not the worst, but one of the most monitored, flagged. I've had 2 strikes. I'll get another strike on Awaken World. That's it. I'm gone on that one. Warning on this UK Awaken channel. There's other platforms, absolutely. There's Telegram app. Well, you know, these ones. There's all these other, all the Internet of Things anyway is monitored. So when you want to make sure you don't communicate. But anyway, I shall play this in the background while I just do a couple of things. 5 to 11. Yeah, people are just making, I think, them independent content and trying to get information. Everyone's at different stages sometimes, I think. Okay. No worries. No worries. Whatever. Okie dokie. Right, let's play this in the background.
Artificial neurons, and then have those minds connected to each other, just like you network and daisy chain computer systems. That is the hive mind. It goes back to not just mapping, the electrical impulses. People think of, mind control and reading people's minds, that it's just the electromagnetic signals. No, this is actually going to the physical components of the brain and mapping them out and then reproducing them. I mentioned the warm and wet qubits. Now, those are biological simulations of a human neuron. And these are comprised of calcium, phosphorus, and oxygen. And the reason for that is it has to do with spin. 2 of them have, a neutral spin, and one has a half integer upspin. But the point is, they are literally trying to build a human biological model so that they can have their own version of a human brain. And it begs the question, why bother? We got 7 billion brains running around this planet. They control the mind the same way that they teach the AI computer systems at the high level of AI. We're not talking about cars and trains and planes and automobiles. We're talking about AI that is so sophisticated that it operates a sentient world simulation, so sophisticated that it actually taps in and controls the mind. And what this article that we're going through here today demonstrates to you is the actual real-time, tangible aspects of mind control that Dr. Karlstrom very well put together on Wednesday on the show. And that is what I'm trying to drive home to people. This is not conspiracy theory. This is not woo. This is not out there in, YouTube land where people are making up a bunch of nonsense. The 2 hypotheses that we're going through today is derived from a person who was involved in these programs with DOD, a person who knows the programs intimately. And again, Dr. Karlstrom has done an extensive amount of research in this area to prove that these are actual real programs, and they are by the hundreds out there. And we talk about targeted individuals and people that are on the list, and he said there's well over 1 million people just in the United States that are targeted individuals. To think anthropomorphically that the AI would be benevolent towards us is absurd, because this is not a human system. These are wires and metal pieces, and as I said a few minutes ago, synthetic, biological, warm and wet qubit supercomputer systems. Now, I've said it many months ago, and I'm going to step out on the limb again here, and I'm going to say, under the heading of conjecture, without proof, that at least the 14th model of D-Wave's quantum computers is a biological computer, that it is made up of the warm and wet qubits that I described. So anytime we hear about these things in the media, in the open domain, about biological replacements of human neurons, and in this context of the mind, the mentally integrated neuron duplicator, that they have supercomputers that are biologically based, because that has to be the direction you're going to go. If you're going to model a biological human brain, then you have to, by inference, by deduction, build a biological model of it, a copy, a clone of the brain. And I believe that that does exist. And the reason that I say that is because of the rapid advancement that is taking place in the world of the sentient world simulation. This is demonstrating for you that this is beyond the nuts and bolts of even a quantum computer, which essentially is still, it is not biological. We're talking about niobium, we're talking about gold, titanium. Those are the constructs of the qubits of even the D-Wave.
Good question.
So rather than hardware and software, they're actually going to a new form of software, and that is the biological replacement of the human brain, functioning as a quantum computer biologically, and then loading people, integrating people into this new form of brain. I'm going to just tell you, the reason for this is the replacement of the human race, human 2.0. This just means that they are building models in the computer of the neural pathways in our brain so that they can duplicate our brain. And literally, they do that in silico. And again, that's another article.
What happened there? It's just stopped.
That I published in Entangled magazine, in silico DNA, but they are also doing in silico modeling of the human brain. This all comes out of particle physics, folks. This is all about particle colliders, synchrotron particle accelerators, hard X-rays, looking at our DNA, looking at the proteins building the DNA, using these hard X-rays to infer their quantum construction patterns, their models. They do all of this in computer software, and now they're applying that same DNA process to the minds in order to, down at that, tubulin dimer level, be able to model exactly the electrical pathways, the electron flow within our human brains, from neuron to neuron, across synapse connections, all of those things across the dendrites. Everything is being modeled biologically.
Interesting.
These are Smile Direct Club alumni.
End of Mankind, 2006, NASA now, stopthepromo.net. Agenda.
This is Trevor Coppola for Anthony J. Hilder. I'm with Deborah Tavares, and we're going to discuss a few topics here.
Thank you so much for the interview. I appreciate the opportunity. One of the things that we want to talk about is what we were discussing a little bit ago, and that is the significance of this NASA war document that was found on the NASA website, and the need to urgently get this out in front of as many people as possible, because of the content of this document.
So was this document available to everyone, or this was on their actual website and someone found it?
That is correct. It was on the NASA website, and it was a document that actually is a PowerPoint presentation by Dennis Bushnell. the chief NASA scientist at the Langley Center. And it was presented in 2001, July of 2001, just a few months before 9/11. And what brought my attention to it and immediately rang some uncomfortable realizations was when we first came across it. It says on the website, Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare circa 2025. And as I decided to just flip through it quickly to see what it was about, I was a little stunned on page 4. It said, the presentation is based in all cases upon existing data, trends, analysis technologies, no pixie dust. And the entire premise of the document, or the PowerPoint, is about robots, cyborgs, and humans. So I immediately saw a conflict between future and now. And I thought, what are they covering up? Because that was a definite cover up. And then I started to continue looking through the document with shock. And that's why we're talking right now, because I think most people would be shocked to find on page 93.
So who wrote this NASA document, and was this intentional? Did they want the public to see this, do you think? Or?
Well, again, the Illuminati, the most wealthy, rich men on the face of the planet, always telegraph everything that they're going to do. So the fact that it was on the NASA website, it was certainly available to the public, but did they see it? Obviously not. Because had they looked at this document, you would know about it right now, and we don't. And that's the purpose of this discussion, is for people to know about this document. Again, the conflict between the future and the fact that they said it was a current reality in 2001 of July when this was actually presented. And what it said, which was quite shocking, on page 93, it said, capture, torture Americans in living color on prime time. And that is an unbelievable statement. Then it's followed up by saying terror attacks within the continental United States using binary biologicals take down critical infrastructure. They are going to use an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulse. They're going to use radiation frequencies against our brains, etc., and conduct serious cyber and collateral damage and exploitation. On this same page 93, they say exploit CNN syndrome. Now, CNN, of course, is the network, the news media network, propaganda machine, and was set up by the CIA. You can watch the movie called War on stopthecrime.net for all the background information on CNN. Very, very interesting information. Then you go on and you read that on page 66, they say increasingly critical are human limitations and human downsides. Humans are too large. Humans are too heavy, too tender. Humans are too slow, both physically and mentally. And we require huge logistical trains, meaning we cost way too much money to maintain. And humans have rapidly decreasing to negative value. Can you even believe this? I mean, you're hearing this, and it's got to be rather shocking coming off of a NASA website, particularly when some of the agencies that are involved are the U.S. Air Force, DARPA, the CIA, the FBI, Southern Command, Atlantic Command, Australian Department of Defense, and other agencies. This is the corporation's agencies. We are USA Inc. We're no longer under a constitution as proclaimed in the Iron Mountain Report, which everyone should read. On stopthecrime.net, you can download it not only as the document, but you can watch the documentary, which I highly recommend. You will see how the stealth and deceptive, incrementally positioned attacks upon the Constitution have rendered us now a corporation. and we no longer have a legitimate government. We are being controlled by corporations and banks that are posing as a legitimate government, and they're not. We wouldn't have a legitimate government with the war machine stating what they were going to do on the continental United States to all the people. And this is not just in the United States. This is a global planned attack and assault with technologies beyond most people's comprehension. Everyone is buying books and ammunition, guns and ammunition, and they don't realize that the beam weapons, for example, on page 45, beam weapons increasingly prevalent. This is how they're going to attack. They talk also about, on page 9, this is very interesting and horrifying. Humans have taken over and vastly shortened evolution. They're going to direct evolution. They believe, the bankers, the global elites, believe that they have accomplished immortality. And they're doing that, again, keeping in mind that this entire document is about robots, cyborgs, and humans. They've already mapped our brains. We've just recently heard that they can transfer a human brain into machinery. So whenever they tell us that this is a new scientific discovery, we know it's been decades and decades prior to us ever finding out about these things. And they also talk about microdust as a weapon. They say that this micron-sized mechanized dust, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs, the dust mechanically bores into the lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. They say it's a completely new type of warfare, and it is legal. It's legal. This is what they're going to do to all the humans on the face of this planet. It's all legal.
Yeah,
and then they talk about
idea.
how the use of frequencies will be used in warfare. And we know, for example, the smart meters that are being deployed around the globe, the replacement of our electric meters, which will also and does include the replacement of all of our gas meters and our water meters as well, and will be connected to our food supply when they collapse the currency and they issue energy allowances, and that will all be controlled through the metering system. But they talk about the use of low frequencies, microwave frequencies, and they mention in this NASA document the U.S. Army report. The U.S. Army report is on our website, smartmetersmurder.com. It's about a 20-page Army document that talks about the use of frequencies to target the enemy. We're the enemy. And they say 100% of the human population will be affected by these frequencies. Some will be the canaries in the coal mine, which is a term that they've been using as people have been dropping like flies. People are experiencing all kinds of health maladies. Generally, it starts with ringing of the ears, heart palpitations, skin rashes, inability to sleep through the night. And what they're doing is they're jamming our immune systems with these frequencies.
So how do the elite shield themselves from their own weapons?
Well, that's a really good question. And some of the information that we've come across is, of course, they have methods far ahead of anything that we have available to ourselves, such as cancer cures. They don't get cancer. There's chip mechanisms that we understand can fend off certain frequency attacks. We also know that they're interested in transhumanism. So much of what they're doing globally, they're interested in. And to what extent they're affected by all of the chemtrails and all of the nanofibers that are being dropped, which is phase 1 of the first protocol. It all lines up. Everything lines up. You connect the dots. You see the NASA war document. Not only does it talk about the effects of frequencies and how it will be used, they acknowledge that it will interfere with our performance, that it will cause seizures. They acknowledge this in this document. It is no longer a debate about smart meters. We don't need any more scientists or doctors saying people are getting sick. This is the intention. So we have to stop looking for more verifiable proof that people are becoming sick. This is the goal. This is the absolute goal. It's incarceration, it is enslavement, and it is depopulation, and it is massive mind control. The frequencies have multiple purposes.
What do you think the solution is to all of this multi-level attack that's been going on for a very long time?
Well, I think the solution is that people need to become educated as rapidly as possible. And there are documents that are, for example, the Silent Weapons Quiet Wars document. It's a 41-page document. It's on our website. This lays out, it's an operations, research, and technical manual. This document was the 1954 Bilderberg policy at the first Bilderberg meeting. And this laid out the strategy to control the human population. And again, I can't stress enough that everyone should read this, because they talk about how they talk about that this document should not be released to the people because it is a declaration of war.
You can't keep fighting fires. You have to go after the arsonists. That's what you're pointing out, is the people that are responsible. And everything we see out there, what
developed under the military management in England during World War II. The original purpose of this research was to study strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with objective effectiveness used to initiated military resources against foreign enemies. And they go on to talk about how they came across technologies that they had. Oh, in 1952, the grant period terminated, and the high-level meeting of the elite was held to determine the next phase of the social operations research. The Harvard project had been very fruitful, as is borne out by the publication of some of the results in 1953, suggesting the feasibility of economic engineering, studies of structure of the American economy. And they talk about how it was engineered in the last half of the 1940s. The new quiet war machine stood, so to speak, in sparkling gold plated hardware on the showroom floor by 1954. So this document talks about a combination of irresistible attacks upon humanity and how they will control humanity. Politically, they talk about how they set up the political system right and left so that we would feel our grievances were aired and our frustrations could come out. But the bankers were behind everyone who was elected, and they laugh at us. They laugh at us. The very, very last, and I'll go to this right now because we'll come back to the document itself, but the very last statement in this document, it says, Factor 6, cattle. Those who will not use their brains are no better off than those who have no brains. And so this mindless school of jellyfish, father, mother, son, and daughter, become useful beasts of burden or trainers of the same. So what they say in this document is they will dole out poisonous foods. It's not what we need, but it's what we want. And those that decide to eat these foods will have the consequences of that. They tell us how they set up all the social engineering, how they devise the family, how they crumble the family, how they set up the war machine, how they influence thinking in the family unit to allow the family to give up their children to war for a rich man's fodder. It's a document that discusses the artificial womb. They believe that people need to feel protected, and that the elites are going to serve as the womb for protection of the people, that they'll have a place to take cover and hide from the reality of life because we just are not capable of managing the reality of life. So they will set up that artificial womb. It says the objective of these artificial wombs is to provide a stable environment for both stable and unstable activity, to provide a shelter for the evolutionary process of growth and maturity. Survival, to provide security for freedom and to provide defensive protection for offensive activity. And they say that from the time a person leaves its mother's womb, in every effort is directed towards building, maintaining, and withdrawing into artificial wombs various sorts of substitute protective devices or shells. So they set themselves up to protect us, to keep us crippled, to numb us down with foods so that our pineal gland is interfered with. We're never able to reach our higher consciousness. And right now, the massive fluoridation across the United States is to collapse the ability for us to think. They're shutting us down right now.
Take your baby and make it Rosemary's Baby.
That's exactly right.
Very similar to The Matrix, which was based on a DARPA document. I mean, it's similar, isn't it? It's problem, reaction, solution, the same way they always operate.
Well, they're already doing food supply, aren't they?
So I guess the best thing to do is wake everyone up and hope that the grassroots movement can change it. Do you think revolution would be necessary at some point, or
well, that was 8 years ago.
That?
Look what we're doing now.
Well, I think we need a revelation, not a revolution. A revolution would only bring in martial law.
That's it.
In the opinion of what we are looking at, would bring in martial law. It would also allow people to be targeted with the weaponry that they cannot wait to roll out on us. You add the drones, you add the microdust, you add in the big weapons that they tell us they have. They also have a blast wave accelerator. And when you look at the population,
like Mo was saying about there's this guy called Super Soldier interview. He talks, he's implanted. And the last interview of Max Spears, he died 2016 also. He left children and a wife behind. And 5 years ago, this interview, I've watched a few of them. He talks about underground military bases. This is for over 18's disclaimer. What I will share the video channel, you can go and watch it. But it gives you a deeper insight, maybe. But there's no conspiracy theory when you research the technology similar to reality, just know, and the advancements. And there's a lot more going on, but anyway. The documents I read a while ago clarifies there's a demonic occult that uses in history, biblical history, certain things to certain age group, and I won't describe it here because it's demonic. That last woman, Max, is a plant. Max Spires, or the one on the video, Deborah Devade, an American woman she claims to be. That one there, May. Deborah Devade, StopTheCrime.net. Is this the one you're referring to? Max Spears. Yeah. I had a suspicion with Max Spears, which, let me go back to where I had it. I found that the CIA Monic and MK Ultra programs, the Max Spears one, which I took with a pinch of salt quite a while ago actually, some of the information was credible because I've seen old documents going back years on educateyourself.org and the links on that website. Yeah, so the digital, I've also got an upload of, say, the digital monetary system with the, not just a Bitcoin, but a bit more all controlled. The what do you call it? I made some notes about it. Oh, I forgot it now. Like in China, what they're doing, the credit score system. That's it. And in England, they already got designed the digital coin, digital ID, digital passport, digital everything. So as I said yesterday, today, still Tuesday, I can never offer to sign, autograph, anything on electrical format because certain subjects I studied. So I had a gut feeling that was just a deliberate sort of situation going on again. So anyway, I wasn't able to answer the door anyway. I wouldn't, not to that individual who is behind doing the perping for a long time and disappearing my mail and messing about with my posts, especially in this area. And he is just working for National UK Royal Mail PLC. But I'm looking at, it's all automatisation, isn't it? And the robotics, the future. So turning humans into machines. It's demonic. And when I'm looking at, as you said, Mo, a while ago, look after oneself. Very much spot on in that one. So anyone out there that uses playback videos need to get spiritually 100%, whatever belief system one has, because there's something to fear. That lady was talking about the body being made of certain percent of water and the brain. We're spiritual beings. We're spiritual. The essence is spiritual. And spiritual souls, they can't take away that essence and of the human body, which they're trying with HARP and CERN and advanced technology, and with their new so-called advancement in medicine. in all, like you said earlier, my food's GMO. I mean, I had a piece of broccoli, right, at the shop, and my mate was cutting it all up. And what's the point in buying food in your mainstream stores in fruit and veg? Now, could tell the cucumber wasn't that bad, and the small tomatoes tasted and seemed the same. But the broccoli, I mean, the carrots seem not that noticeable. But I saw a lady's video, I can't remember, I've saved it, but I can't remember, I've saved it now. She's doing some really good ideas of growing herbs. And you can grow in small containers, small white, concise, really good ideas, TI she is, and in a small space. Because herbs, natural herbs for the body, in the times we're living in, and learning about different spices and herbs, what benefits the cells and the health of the body and mind as well, is extremely just as important as water. Water source and survival methods, i.e., you can get a solar shower, like if you're camping, but you can get a solar if there's any sun. Just looking at preparation. There is also, just in case power goes off, where you're going to get your water source, where you're going to get your water. So it's a water filter version, and it's not that dear, but it's a way to, even polluted water, river, that sources out the bacteria, which will turn into drinkable water. But it's always best to have a backup, and there's a military style first aid kit as well. These little things one can get oneself, but in England, I've got some documents I've saved, I can't quote specifics on it. There's alternative platforms, people are saying they're fake, some are real, but what I'm noticing, what's going on in the reality of the world, UK packed beaches, bank holiday coming up in England, and they might imply another lockdown by, what the demonic Freemasons are like, their numbers, another lockdown or whatever. And then, all these food shortages, scaremongering. This is what I don't do. I don't, like some others do. They get the warnings out, but they do scaremonger, and that's fearmongering in my opinion. You just don't need that, because whatever you've got is looking at the depression years. Go back in history, make do what you got, stretch out what you can, and just change, just simple things. Just change around just look at your food storage. If you've got any little bit of food, any bit of camping stuff you already got, just see even simple things. If you've got old skills you haven't used, able to reuse them, especially when you're targeted and you've got so much going on. They're trying to push the agenda on me to use my flat as a public health and safety yet again issue, which they caused years ago and still am. And so, yeah, so I personally are not doing certain things for certain reasons. Anyway, got off topic. Back to the point. The movies, or scripts and movies, are always telling us the plans for a long time. So as is always just scream when my laptop's not hacked. Educate yourself, for all website. because that's the original authentic website. It's only one I really come across that gives you links and you can research the various subjects in one place. And and then you can make your own discernment which subject and what's best for your own personal situation. Sadly, my son is very much controlled, mind, very much pulled into the program that he had in the original, well, one of the part of videos before phone got hacked as well. And he's very much into the crypto, not just a crypto, but I looked into this earlier, watching a video and how the mining, the computerized systems work. And you got someone with the quantum bits, tarot bits, perhaps, on the advanced computer systems, mining the digital with the 3D, 4D printing systems, advancement of technology, and you're just creating digital digits on the computer system, and just creating a belief system really in monetary supply. So all the mainstream banks, UK, well, there never was a real monetary system place since the gold standards back. It's 1933 collapsed then. So a lot of people, preppers and people like that, are able to already be putting in silver and if they could afford ounces of gold and investments. Really, more is important is depending on the family situation, food, water supply, clothing, thinking about how you're going to heat when there's, it's a bit like thinking you're camping out but you're in bricks and mortar, and it's a bit like thinking you're living out, unfortunately, like nappy roots. You're living out your car or van and you're thinking that way. You're thinking about survival practically as well as spiritually. Because any day, people are worrying, there's a lot of scaremongering, there's a lot of fear mongering, it's just ridiculous. So you can get consumed by that easily, by this program. And then sleep deprivation, then the mind happy, then your technology is happy. Anything old-fashioned way of doing things, pen to paper. Anyone of a certain generation can teach others, the youngsters especially, how to get off their blinking phones, iPads and TV and mainstream news and stuff, and just listen. And look what people did in history to survive. Bartering system. You've got a can of beans to exchange, cup of jar coffee, sugar, storage, Milo bags, the seal type bags, flour. I've invested in a couple items already. One's a mini. It's a bit like if you can camp, you're hiking. So like a still fire, a collapsible version that you can put twigs in, and it's got like a grill version at the top. I want to get another something to go with it, which is cheap enough. It's just survival tactics.